dances, absurdist humor, and 5-star world-class education. You can learn languages, recipes, home improvement, crafting skills, medical advice, history. Yeah, it shouldn't come as a surprise that an app driven by punchy short-form video content is a prime environment to foster less than ideal academic integrity. Usually you'll just get some lightly misinformed videos or confused people with like maybe 200 views, but in some of the worst cases, you end up with accounts touting videos with millions of views that have unsourced, extremely questionable history, or, just as bad, try to explain extremely complex historical concepts in 1 minute that would actually take a mega-long video essay or even a book to cover. This is kind of the beef that I personally have with some queer history education on TikTok and Twitter. I think some folks manage to do it well, but a lot of the time it's not a topic that can be simplified or explained in 1 to 3 minutes or a few tweets without losing some really valuable context. And even with the good accounts, there usually aren't sources cited. But then there's some history education accounts out there that are so bad, it's actually harmful to a greater perception of the past. Natalie Nougaret observed in her Guardian column, "The use of propaganda is ancient, but never before has there been the technology to so effectively disseminate it." And that's kind of the crux of the issue we'll be exploring today. But as always, we have to know how we got here to truly understand the here that we're dealing with. It shouldn't be surprising at all to hear that propaganda and misinformation aren't remotely new problems, and are in fact very ancient ones. From the age of the Romans, when Emperor Octavian used coins to disseminate catchy slogans, painting Antony as a drunk womanizer, to the 6th century AD when Procopius of Caesarea used a treatise called Secret History to spread lies about Emperor Justinian and his wife and gain favor under the new emperor. Historical misinformation is, after all, inherently political. Joanna M. Burkhart writes in Combating Fake News in the Digital Age, "Knowledge is power. Those controlling knowledge, information, and the means to disseminate information became group leaders, with privileges that others in the group did not have. In many early state societies, remnants of the perks of leadership remain: pyramids, castles, lavish household goods, and more. But naturally, misinformation gets a massive boost by the inventions of new and radical innovations to media and information delivery. When the Gutenberg printing press was invented in 1493, it sparked not only the beginning of mass media, but a sharp rise in literacy. Literacy doesn't always come coupled with media literacy, however. As we well know today, many readers were still, and still are, vulnerable to lies and being too trusting of authors that they deemed to be trustworthy for one reason or another. As I discussed in my video on Julie d'Aubigny, many writers and memoirists in the 17th to 18th centuries had absolutely no reason to not lie in their works. After all, who was going to fact-check them to the masses? And frankly, embellishing stories with made-up details certainly made them sell better in his lifetime, each time causing havoc for reporters and the readers who believed the stories, which would be really funny if I didn't know where shit like this led to, so no. Bad, Edgar. Television, and now the internet, the ease with which fake history can be consumed and disseminated has only grown more and more powerful. In the age of the internet, it's now easier than ever to spread lies. Before, at least, you needed some sort of credentials. You had to be a writer or someone of note, or had some kind of access to the rare and coveted tools to access the masses. Now, for better or for worse, these tools are in the hands of every single person with access to the internet. Anyone can, in a matter of minutes, create an account on Twitter or TikTok or YouTube and post a video or tweet claiming some kind of fact or history with no sources cited, maliciously or knowingly or not. And potentially hundreds or thousands or millions of people will see and possibly believe it. This, the conundrum we find ourselves in today, is an issue more serious than we realize. Few people understand how serious it is than, well, people like me and many other historical educators online. Our job is very serious because I understand how easy it is to fall for lies online. Actually, that was one of the reasons I made my channel in the first place. I got really sick of going on Twitter every day and seeing people make huge threads about history filled with lies or misinformation with no sources or shoddy sources, but worded so confidently that people believed them. From issues as benign as the old claim that corsets were woman-hating murderous death cages, to issues as serious as lies about the Holocaust. Every day it was something, and every time I clicked on the thread, I would see dozens, if not hundreds of people uncritically taking it as truth. And I got really upset and scared. You don't know that person. If you, like me, asked them for their sources, a lot of the time you'd get a response with some variation of, just trust me, bro, or you'd get ignored, or they'd lash out at you.
You really think someone would do that? Just go on the internet and tell lies?
That's why all my videos have my comprehensive sources listed, and I spend days and days and days crawling through my sources, trying my best to vet them. And even then, sometimes I slip up. And if that happens, despite the amount of research I do, imagine how easy it is for someone who does basically no research at all to shit out a video spouting some completely buck-wild story about history and have it reach a city's worth of people. And few places online harbor this as easily as the internet's misinformation darling, TikTok. Videos get. I can't just say it's because TikTok's user base is mostly kids, because a lot of the people I see following for these videos are adults, and almost all the people making these videos are adults. So is it because people on TikTok are inherently more gullible? I don't know, maybe? I hate to say that because I too have literally fallen for fake stuff on there before. I am not immune to propaganda. I think the difference has a lot to do with the fact that on TikTok, you're not typically seeing like professionals and fancy productions. You're seeing regular people in their homes excitedly sharing something they just learned with you. And I can definitely see the appeal of that. That's what my own videos are too, in a way. But these TikTok videos make it easier to trust the people making them because it kind of tricks your brain into seeing this info as being given to you by a friend in an intimate conversation. These folks seem cool and personable, and you can see their face and you want to trust them. And like, most people aren't gonna sit down and read a brick of a book every day like I do. And there's also the complicated factor of like people wanting to trust regular people rather than academic and accessible fancy pants guys, because a lot of folks online really easily fall for the idea that the higher ups are trying to hide some great secret from you. Human rights lawyer writes, the videos may have started as jokes, but that doesn't change the fact that they are harming disabled people. Nearly every disabled person has been told at one time or another, you're faking it. Keller was accused of being a fake and a liar even in her own lifetime, and even frequently by people who had previously sided with and protected her. Any disabled person knows just how easy it is for folks to give up on or turn on us when it becomes convenient. But that doesn't erase the pain that it caused. Still, this is why you have to realize that doing the work as a servant of history is long, hard, and extremely complicated. Sources need to not only be cited but carefully vetted. Details are easily missed or lost. Doing research on a deadline will wear you down until there's nothing left but your bones. I have some bad news. Putting on my dunce hat for this section. I've spent this whole video dunking on people who have spread historical misinformation, and yeah, they all deserved it, but it would be ridiculous and hypocritical of me to pretend that I've never fucked up myself. I mean, with the frequency that I put out videos and the sheer amount of information and essays and books that I need to juggle, it's impossible to not take an L sometimes, no matter how hard I try. So, time to atone for my sins, just in case. I'm human, I've fucked up, and by God, I'll do it again. But the point is, I'm well aware of, like, how serious my job is. And I don't know how other history creators feel, but I feel like it's a really serious job. It's also why I honestly feel kind of disgusted when people go online and frame themselves as educators in order to get views, but all they do is post unsourced, poorly researched, sensationalist junk. Things out to implore you to be vigilant, aware, and thoughtful about what you learn and what you log into your brain library as a fact. Don't be too afraid or too proud to unlearn something or acknowledge what you thought was wrong. I appreciate you for trusting me with your learning. I really do. Because that trust is a really valuable thing. So